Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy the D here, aka the captain of the Thunder God Pirates. And boy, we got a good chapter today. So it's been a while. It's finally happened. Within the next couple of chapters, we're gonna be out of Wano. And like I normally say this for the end, but it's like it's kind of surreal. Like every arc in One Piece is like, man, how long this one gonna last? Especially with Dressrosa, because that shit was long as hell. And then with Totland, which was way longer than it should have been. But yet again, not gonna go there. But yeah, we're finally getting out of Wano. It seems, and because like, it's really surreal because ever since the time skip, everything since the time skip happened has led up to Wano. Like, think about it. Since the Straw Hats have gotten to the New World, everything has hinged. Well, everything has been building up to Wano. Uncazard, they fought Caesar. Caesar was working for Dofi. They went to Dressrosa. They fought Dofi. Then they went to Zou, which was attacked by, well, Dofi who worked for Kaido. Yeah, Dofi who worked for Kaido. Then after Luffy beat Dofi, they went to Zou. At Zou, they didn't fight Jack, but they were made aware of Jack, who worked for Kaido. And even then, when Sanji separated, Luffy needed him, not only because he was his crewmate, but because they were fighting Kaido, and they finally get to Wano. So everything from Caesar Clown to Doflamingo to Zou, which the Minks have a connection to the Kozuki clan, who were, defeated by who else? Kaido. So it's kind of surreal that we're to this point. But before we get into the chapter proper, thank you so much for everybody who's been, watching reviews, who's been commenting, who's been liking, the few likes that I do get. Thank you so much. But yet again, y'all waited long enough, like good boys and girls. Let's get to it. One Piece, chapter 1056, Cross Guild. And then we're treated to the cover story, an Emotionless Excursion, and we finally have Ichiji, Yonji, and Niji, along with Reiju, going up against Oven and Katakuri, which yet again, I don't know how much this is gonna play into the full story, but I'm really interested to what they think. Because yet again, their captain fell from grace. So Totland isn't protected by Big Mom anymore. Like, even when she would leave, it's like, okay, you'd have to deal with probably Katakuri because he didn't go to Wano. And then her kids. Because we had Smoothie, I think Peril Sparrow is either dead or critically injured. And then I think a couple of the others, because I know Flampe, that bitch, she's with them. But yeah, I'm just wondering, what's gonna happen to Totland? How's New gonna hit Katakuri? Because Katakuri didn't have any problem when him and Luffy fought, about Luffy coming back to beat Big Mom one day. So the fact that happened, I'm kind of wondering how the world's changed. And the good thing about this chapter is we find out a little bit about how the world's changed. But yet again, so we pick up during the party at the Flower Capital in the Grand Castle. We see somebody saying, "Hang in there, Raizo. Don't die, Shinobu." Just look how gaunt, college word. And what terrible sorcery. Then we see two panels of Raizo and Shinobu, if I remember her name, looking like fucking raisins. And yet again, before I say this, pause. But damn, Green Bull sucked them up good. Just gonna leave that there. It's right there. It's right there. We're just gonna leave that there and continue. So apparently, because I was wondering what happened to Kinemon, because it's like, okay, dude uses wood. And we know a guy who can cut fire and attack using fire. So apparently he was away in Kuri, and he didn't know what was happening. But Cat Viper and Dogstorm, they're like, hey man, what's done is done. And they don't, and yet again, fucking Shinobu and Raizo look look like they're knocking on death's door. But Cat Viper, he's like, okay, because we got like the mink doctors there, so they're helping. And Cat Viper's like, oh hey, how's Osuru? Because I was thinking, because remember Osuru is his childhood girlfriend. I think they married before he left in time or not. Anyway, so we all thought she was dead because I remember right before the raid happened. I think it was the motherfucker with the line. I can't remember his name right now. Not that it's important because I think all of them are dead now, thanks to Green Bull. But she led him. She acted as a distraction, and we thought she was dead. But apparently he was in Kuri visiting the Okabore town. And Okabore town, unfortunately, was burned to the ground. But yet again, the Kozukis are back in power. The Beast Pirate's been defeated. Don't think that's going to be much of an issue. And apparently she has a burn on her face. But we cut over to Okabore town, where Osuru's talking to someone who asks, like, hey, is it true the Kinemon came back? There's a little old lady. And then she's like, and the little lady's like, hey, you're from the capital too. You should go. Because remember, back when he had blonde hair, in Odin's backstory, he was like a blonde-haired punk roaming through the capital causing trouble. And Osuru was the one who would often stick up for him. And she blushes with like a bandage over her face. Apparently on the left side of her face. And she's like, she wants to be inside too. Cut back over to Kinemon, and this motherfucker is cheesing ear to ear. And he's like, hey man, even after 20 years, she's as beautiful as the day I left her. And he's just gawking, and then Dogstorm's like, hey, dogs like cheese, but not that much cheese. Talking about how cheesy he's been about the woman he loves. And even Cat Viper, he has a distinct laughter style here. Which I don't know if we ever found that out, but if we didn't, now we know. And even Okiku, and she's laughing and saying how sweet it is. And Raizo said, ooh, I wish I had a girl. And somebody's like, focus on your recovery. Now, it's funny because on Twitter the other day, I think it was Sandman, or it might have been Ohara, who was talking about Raizo. And apparently in one of the recent SBS, which I think I might start talking about those, but they talked about why Raizo, and it ties into this, why Raizo and Fukurokuju had that whole beef. Apparently, Raizo was in love with his sister, and there was some understanding that Raizo, like either Raizo did something or he walked in and heard the wrong thing, and there was a misunderstanding which caused him to leave. So he wasn't actually exiled, he just left. And as she had terminal illness, and as she kept getting sick, she kept calling out for him, Raizo, 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 Raizo. And when she died, her last words were Raizo. So Fukurokuju, not knowing the situation, thought that she was calling out to him as like in like a vengeful way. No, she just wanted to see him. So that's where their beef started. And it kind of ties in here because the woman he loved died from disease, which is really fucked up. But anyway, on to the next. So anyway, next we focus on Carrot, who's in a kimono eating what looks like dango and what might be Odin. And so she's like, so she pops in, like, hey, what's up? You called me? And so the Dogstorm's like, yeah. Like, oh, there you are. You're gonna be the new king of the, well, I don't know why they keep using king and not, yet again, there's a term for that, but hey, I don't know people's identity, so I'll just continue to say king. Fuck it. Vote ruler. Or whatever. Anyway, you're gonna be the new king of Mokomo Dukedom. And then she's like, the king you say? Sure. And then we pan out to a shot of the castle. Wait, what? No way, I can't do that. And then Dogstorm and Catbite both sit before her and like, look, the thing is, they've decided to stay in Wano and serve the Kozuki clan as their samurai, because they are, members of the 9 Red Scabbards who serve the Kozuki clan, who are the shogunate family of Wano. And then even Cat Viper chimes in, like, look, you're one of the few who actually went out and see the world thanks to her journey with Luffy. And that means you must have some of what they'll need in the new era. Because remember, Zoe, for the most part, is really, closed off from the world. And especially like in Wano and in places like Wano and the Fishing Kingdom, these places have been so closed off due to, yet again, bad dealing with humanity. It's like, in order for the world to change, the world to become more open and peace to reign, and like that dawn that everybody's talking about to kind of happen, they need people who are more open-minded to change, and people who are more, receptive to the outside world, which, yet again, she has. I think if Pedro hadn't died, they might have made him, the king, but since she's the only one alive, who's really went out, explored the world other than them, it's gonna be her. And then she's like, yo, wait a minute, there are so many people who are stronger than I, so there's better candidates. And then the Three Musketeers and Sicilian, full power, pops in with his comrades. Of course there are. But he then goes on to say, our job is to protect the country, not to rule it. And then even Wanda's like, hey, look, we'll help too. Like, she'll help too. This was the two kings' decision, Karen. And then they chime in, but most important of all, her heart carries Pedro's will in it. Like that's what leads me to believe, like, if Pedro hadn't died, they might have gave it to him. And then she would have been the ruler anyway, because I believe even if Pedro had lived, he'd have took over, and then when it was time for him to retire, he'd probably picked her if she'd still been young enough. Anyway, they even go on and say, look, just to sum this up, we're leaving Zoe to the younger generation. And then we cut over to another shot of the Imperial Palace. We're spending a lot of time here. Grandfather? Yes, I am Odin's father. Which, this caught me by surprise, because didn't he just say like a chapter or two ago that he wasn't going to tell them? So I'm like, why? But then we see his face, and then we see both Momonosuke and Hiyori like hugging him. And then he's crying, he's having a moment with them, saying to them how sorry he is that he wasn't there for them. And even then he's like, you truly look just like Odin. And in the face he does. He looks like Odin, what Odin would have looked like if Odin would let his hair down and I had that dumbass hairstyle. I'm telling you, the entire time whenever we would see Odin in silhouette with that hairstyle, I thought like, bruh, this motherfucker gonna be so raw but so goofy looking. Still looks goofy, but didn't look as goofy as I thought it was gonna be. And then both of them are like, hey, it's cool, we lost one of our parents, but now we have a relative. So it seems like the Kozuki clan wasn't really much of a clan. Like, because it seems like it might have just, like, cause even back when Odin was a kid, it seemed like it was just him and his dad. I didn't see his mom, who probably died during childbirth or some shit, or of illness. Didn't see any cousins, uncles, grandparents running around. So most likely, their clan they probably only been having like one kid every generation. So this will probably be the first time in like probably a long time there have been more than one Kozuki clan member at a time. Because now it's like, okay, we got Sukiyaki, their grandfather, and then we got Momo and Hiyori. That's 3 people. So it's looking like their clan really didn't propagate. Because even when Sukiyaki was born, his father, because they were looking for another, they kept trying, but he just wouldn't come to like the absolute last minute. So it seems like their clan is not big. Because if their clan had been big, it'd have been like, okay, so the main branch, Sukiyaki's father can't have a kid. Okay, well, he'll have to train one of his nieces or nephews to do it. Because that would have solved that issue immediately. Orochi's grandfather never would have had the chance to be like, oh, I'm gonna start killing people. Like, no, there are other heirs. If anything happens to them, it's gonna be some bullshit. But no, so apparently their clan might be really, really small. And hopefully these two can, have a gaggle of kids so that the whole secession thing doesn't ever happen again. And then so Sukiyaki gets up, familiar with the kids, and he looks over at the scabbards, Denjiro, Kinemon, Okiku, and Kawamatsu, who are there. Looks like Dogstorm and them probably still in the other room. But he's like, okay, so I'm guessing you all knew. And then both Denjiro and Kawamatsu are like, bro, who would wear a Tengu mask when there's no festival? And then they're like, you didn't seem like an ordinary blacksmith. We knew something was up. And then he's like, I'm sorry to put such a burden on you. And even Okiki was like, we thought it would be rude to say something. Kinemon, yet again, with the dead face, like, he didn't know? He like because he didn't know. He's like, he was Lord Sukiyaki, oh my god. But, you know, because it kind of seems like everybody else, you know, because remember when Denjiro pulled up, he was like, oh, you know, with the poster, you know, and the secret meeting spot, you know, he got, oh man, Kinemon, you're this Machiavellian schemer, and Kinemon just didn't say shit. It was all pure luck. Same thing with now. It's like, okay, because he doesn't say anything, and it looks like nobody else noticed. And then he goes on to tell the kids, like, look, I have a lot of stuff that I have to teach you, but that's pretty much all I can do. After that, I'm going to go back into my seclusion, because yet again, this area is yours to build. That like that's the theme in this chapter. The next, at least in the countries, it's the next generation. It's like, look, we've had our time. We either, you know, flew or we fell. That's the past now. But it's time to let somebody else do it. So that's where they come in. And then Kinemon's like, yes, sir. You know, just you know, you're alive. That's all that matters. Still shocked. And yet again, it looks like nobody has really noticed that he did not know. But we go on to the next panel, and we can see Frankie saying, "What? Pluton's here?" And she was like, and Robin, who saw it, she's like, "Yeah, I wasn't able to see it myself, but yeah, it's here." And then so Frankie's like, "Damn, can't believe that thing actually exists." And so Luffy, because all the sharks sitting around eating, pretty much chilling, and even Luffy's like, "Wait a minute, ain't that the thing that Frankie burned those blueprints for?" And Robin's like, "Yep, that's the ancient Pluton, which bears the name of a god. Want it?" Because Robin just asked him plainly, "Do you want it?" Remember, when Crocodile wanted it, when she was under him, she was like, "Fuck him." Remember, she lied about its location being on the Poneglyph. But she asked Luffy plain as day, like, "Hey, do you want it?" He's like, "No." And then she was on set like, "I figured." But it makes me wonder, why did Odin want to unleash such a thing? Which, yet again, it just lends to the interpretation of the Void Century, of the true history. Because if this thing is like, look, Odin was reckless as hell. Okay, we all know that. But I don't think he was so reckless that he would just mindlessly unleash an ancient weapon by opening Wano. So there's gotta be some rhyme or reason to why he wanted to actually unleash it. So it'll be interesting once all this shit comes together. Because remember, like I said, like I was saying in the last review, Odin wanted to unleash it. Momo, after learning more about it, was like, nah, I don't think we can open the country yet. Because remember, he had Odin's journal, so he knows a lot more. I don't think Odin wrote down what the One Piece is, but I think he did write, oh, yeah, ancient weapons here. I want to, open the borders. So there's some difference in interpretation there between Momo and Odin, which is, understandable. Yet again, different perspectives. Just because I see something from a certain perspective doesn't mean you'll see it the same, and that's purely due to your perspective on things. So then we see a baddie pull up with little Otama, and then she busting like, what was that? They're saying that a mature woman could be a devastating weapon, and everybody's like, who the hell are you? And then she's like, it's me, Shinobu. I'm just a little haggard from an accident. And then Sanji is, he is up and he is just there. Because Shinobu does look good, so it shows. She didn't get big and shit. She was old. She just let herself go. Hell, living in that country under Orochi, having to scrape and, not be able to properly take care of yourself. So even though, yeah, she is old, I think she's like in her 40s, because she was like at least in her late teens, early 20s, at the time of Odin, when Odin was, being boiled the fuck alive. But yeah, she's at least in her like late 40s, mid to late 40s. So she still looks good. So then we see Otama, who's like, hey, I'm Shinobu's prince now. I'm gonna be real tough next time you see me. Then you can let me join your crew. And then Nami's just like, oh, you're so adorable. And Luffy's like, sure, if you can use ninjutsu by then. So I know once the One Piece is found, story's over. But if Oda did like an epilogue, we could very well see Otama as a Straw Hat pirate. And so and then I'm glad we touched on this. While everybody is celebrating, gawking over Otama and just, they're having a good time, we see something ooze from behind the wall, and we see Keribu. It's funny, because a while back, I was wondering what happened to him. I thought, look, no offense, but he's been getting his ass kicked since they were on the way to Fishman Island. So you would think he'd have just took the hint and left. No. He stayed. He's just been hiding in the shadows the entire time. He even thinks to himself, I don't believe it. So Pluton's in Wano. First Poseidon. Now this, I gotta let a certain someone know about this. And it's funny, because in regards to a certain someone, we don't know who that could be. Because at least him, remember, he's a supernova of his generation of pirates. Only person I know he knows is his brother. And at least for the moment, they were independent pirates. It wasn't like not Bartolomeo, even though Bartolomeo is working for Luffy now. It's not like Bellamy. Bellamy, the Bellamy pirates were quote unquote their own pirates, but they worked for Dofi. So at least from what was mentioned, they didn't, the Caribou pirates or whatever the fuck his pirate crew's name is, not important. They weren't working for anybody. So either he met somebody after Fishman Island, or he's been working for somebody this entire time. Or, he could be working for Blackbeard. Maybe he might have encountered Blackbeard from being in the New World, because he was separated from his brother and them. I think they took him with them to New World. He just got separated from him. So, or how did that go? I don't know. So he might have come in contact with Blackbeard or something. So anyway, we cut back to the Flower Capital a couple days later. Everybody is happy. Peace has returned to Wano. And so one of the advisors is like, hey, we have reconstruction plans from each domain now. So as for the needed funds, so Momo, he's just looking out over his kingdom. He's seeing the happy children. He's not in, the headspace of a shogun. So his subjects, they're addressing him, but he's just walking past them. So then he goes to where the Straw Hats staying. He's like, hey, Zolo, teach me some sword fighting techniques, Luffy. Zolo. And so he's realizing that they're not there. He's like, okay, but they might be somewhere else in the castle. So he's calling out to them, Nami, Usopp, Sanji, Chopper, Robin, Frankie, Brook, who they call Bonkichi, Jinbei, and even Yamato. He's like, where is everyone? So he sees Hiyori with Otaku. Well, not Otaku. Damn, Hedgehog Head's daughter. I cannot remember her name. So, she's playing the Shima-sen with the little girl. And, he's like, hey, where's Luffy now? And he's like, oh, and she's like, oh, they've already left. They said their goodbyes to everyone this morning. And then the little girl's like, oh, I missed them. She's laughing again. They're like they're just jamming. So he's like, wait a minute, they ain't say shit to me. And so he goes and he runs to Kinemon like, what? Like, hey, yo, wait a minute, where? Like, bro, they're gone. And then even Kinemon didn't know. And he's like, that they said their goodbyes to everyone else, but why not us? Like, and it's kind of weird because these two have been the ones who've been fucking with the Straw Hats the longest. Like, the Straw Hats were the ones who intercepted their distress signal on Punk Hazard, came to get them, took them from, yet again, Punk Hazard to Zoe. No, Punk Hazard to Dressrosa. Dressrosa to Zoe. And then walk back to Wano. It was like, wait a minute, we're like their closest allies. What the fuck? So then we cut over to Tokage Port. So as usual, the three captains are arguing. So we got Law, pick a different day, Straw Hat. The alliance is over, we're enemies now. Luffy, too bad. We've already decided. We already picked the dance day we're leaving. So he's like, oh well, guess we're all picking now. I guess we're all just leaving at the same time. Whatever, let's pick directions. So somebody holds up, so Kid holds up a log pose. Log pose needles, log pose needles are fixed in 3 directions: northeast, east, and southeast. Pick one. So then they all say it at, so they all say it at the same time. Law goes northeast, and then both Kid and Luffy, for the love of God, the middle one, which would be east. And so Law's like, okay, so I get to go northeast. Y'all do whatever the fuck you want. So he's like, okay, going northeast means means he moves further ahead, the furthest ahead. And so they're like, huh? And then he's like, you picked middle, stupid kids. And so I guess Kid and Luffy play straw, like they pick straws. And then Luffy loses. And so Law's going northeast, Kid's going east, which means that Luffy and his crew have to go to the southeast, which I believe would be closest to the calm belt. Yeah. The southeast island is the one that's going to be closest to the calm belt. And then Usopp, because yet again, while they're doing this, their crews are fixing up the ships, stocking up. And so Usopp yells over to them like, hey, every direction is dangerous. It doesn't matter. Just help us load. And so Luffy gets in Kid's face, goes to his tongue, like, darn, I lost, even though I'm an emperor of the sea. And then Kid's like, oh, so you're really going to rub this shit in my face, huh? Then he's like, you know what? But when it comes to emperors, the one who really makes me mad, and this is like the biggest thing in this chapter, Buggy the Genius Jester, because Kid pulls out a poster or a newspaper with Buggy on the front cover, and that's not the strange part. That's not even the strangest thing. On this, apparently it's insinuating that both Dracula, Hawkeye Mihawk, and Crocodile are working for Buggy. And they've joined his new, because it used to be Buggy's delivery company, but now it's called the Cross Guild. So, two of the most powerful pirates out there and former warlords are working under Buggy. Crocodile, I could see him being like, okay, I'll work under this idiot just to get people off my ass. But Mihawk, hell, remember when they were going to get Mihawk, he was like, shit, I haven't had a chance to have a good fight in a minute. So either this actually happened, like Buggy was probably able to offer Mihawk something and he stayed, or this is just one big ass misunderstanding. And even Crocodile, even though he's a schemer, I don't see him working under Buggy. Hell, because even Doflamingo offered him something. He was like, fuck you. And I doubt, he would refuse Dofi and work for Buggy. So I'm really interested in however the fuck this happened. This shit is weird. Man, this is next level shit, because it's like, how? Now, because remember, we haven't seen Crocodile since the Summit War. And even then, when I think we saw him one time when Luffy got 1.5 billion, he was at a port with Mr. One, Das Bones. But I thought Shanks, not Shanks, well, you know what I'm about to say. I thought Mihawk would have joined anybody, it'd have been Shanks. But Buggy? So Luffy takes notice, look, wait a minute, it's Crocodile and Hawkeyes? And Zoro's in the distance, so yet again, like, Luffy's the one fucking off. Zoro, he's in the back, he's like, huh? And then Luffy's like, why are they showing as Buggy's followers? And Zoro, he's looking at, he's from a distance because he's on the Mary, because I think they're still like on the dock, but Zoro's on the ship, and he's just like, oh, so I can see him. He's like, the hell? Ain't no way. That not Hawkeye. Hell no. Because Zoro's like, ain't no way in hell he's following Buggy. Because remember, Zoro knows Buggy. He's like, ain't no fucking way. And then even not Drake. Which, yet again, fuck happened to Drake? But yeah, but even Law's like, well, if he got two men of their stature working for him, he deserves to be. Which I'd agree, if for any reason Buggy was able to subjugate these two, not like through force, but if he was able to offer them something to make them think, we could kill this man 100 billion times over, but we need to follow him, I'd give it to him. Because we're all thinking like this is some stroke of dumb luck. This might be what happened. And then, so even Luffy's like, you know he's an idiot, right? There's no way. And then Kid is the one who gives the info. He's like, it seems like the Cross Guild company he leads has started putting bounties on the Navy. He's like, look, the Navy's been used to doing all the chasing, but these days they have to fear assassination from civilians. And so Kid says what we're all thinking. We've been stuck here in this closed nation, and the world changed. Because remember, I think they're just now coming to realize that, okay, 7 warlords are abolished. We still haven't heard about that. I was thinking about that the other day. I was driving, I was running errands, and I was thinking like, wait a minute, the fuck about the SSG? Like, whatever bullshit Vegapunk pushed. What the fuck about them? But yeah. So he's like, yeah. So he's saying what we're all thinking, like, shit. Like, they've only been there for probably like 3 weeks to a month. Hell, even for the other Straw Hats, it's closer to, yeah. Luffy, Nami, Chopper, and Brooke have only been there for like three and a half, maybe 3 weeks, maybe 3.5. Other Straw Hats have been there for like a month and like a week and a half, 2 weeks. So, because remember, they went straight from Zoe to Wano. And then I think Kid's been there longer, and Law got there when the other Straw Hats first arrived. So they really don't know what's going on. So then Kid goes on, it's like, hey, okay, so no complaints about our respective routes. Once we set foot outside of Wano, we're in a fight to the death, just like all the others. And so then, a folded piece of paper is given to Killer. Killer's like, huh? And even Kid's like, okay, what's that? And then Law, as he's walking away, is like, that's a copy of the road poneglyph. And this is what I respect about them. He's like, look, you have just as much, you fought Big Mom, you fought the Beast Pirates. You have just as much right to it as we do. Only a trifling man would sneak out to a head start. And that's some real nigga shit. Because they didn't have to give it to him. But hey, much respect. He's like, bro, look, I'm not gonna fuck you. You pulled your weight. And like yet again, to all y'all out there who like, man, Kid ain't do nothing to Big Mom and blah blah blah. Look, Law might have did majority of the work, but Kid definitely pulled his weight. I'll give you that, man. Maybe in the fight with Big Mom, maybe Law was doing more than Kid was. Okay, I'll give you that. But Kid pulled his weight and helped. And so Killer opened it, he's looking at it like, so Kaido did have one of them. And then Kid goes on to say, the same one we took off Big Mom's general. So apparently it was Urouge who defeated Snack and got him kicked out of the Sweet Commanders. But I believe Kid and them, because you remember even when Caribou was talking shit and he was like, oh, you ran for Big Mom, Kid was like, no, I didn't run for Big Mom. I got what I wanted and I left. And so Killer goes on to say, okay, we're gonna have to put all of our strength into this task. if we want to take part in the all-out war over the One Piece. Hold on. And Kid goes on to say something. He looks at Killer. He's like, what? You mean finding the man with the burn scar? That's not enough to go on. And then so Luffy's like, huh? What do you mean burn scar? Like, what man with a burn scar? Law clams up, and even Robin looks confused. And Kid's laughing at Luffy. He's like, oh, you don't know? Well, sounds like we've got the edge. And then Luffy's like, come on. But yet again, you know they're not gonna tell. Back at the Flower Capital in the Imperial Palace, they're like, are you gone to Yamato? And then Yamato, who's on top of the castle, is like, is that you, Momonosuke? I'm here. And then Kinemon like, wait a minute. Is she on the roof again? And then she's like, well, I've made up my mind. Guess I'll go to Luffy and his crew. And she says, I'm gonna live the way Kozuki Oden did. Chapter end. So yeah, this chapter definitely gave us some shit to think about, because it's like, what? Now, like I said, the thing I most want to know about is, well, the first thing that comes to mind is Hawkeye and Crocodile working for Buggy. Just putting that out there. Like I said, I want to know what, why, how, when, where. Like, what do? That's all I gotta say about that. Like, look, ain't too much I can really expound upon that. How the fuck was Buggy Bumass able to recruit a certified Bond villain and the greatest swordsman in the world under his cause? Just saying. Now the other thing is the man with the burn scar. Because even what Kid said, in addition to the Poneglyphs, he said, you mean finding the man with the burn scar? That's not enough to go on. Now, this can mean a few things. Either there's some rumor about someone who can point them to the fourth, because remember, now they have at least the Straw Hat, well, no, they all have them. At least the Straw Hats and the Heart Pirates have 3 Poneglyphs now. They were all at the Whale Forest. Then they all, and then again the Straw Hats, and then they all had, Straw Hats and Heart Pirates have the Whale Forest. Everybody has Big Moms, because Kid and them stole it off him, and then Luffy probably shared his with Law when they got there. And then they all got Kaidos. So that's 3 road Poneglyphs. So the man with the burn scar, it can either be A, pointing them to the fourth, or B, something to do with Lodestar. Because remember, normally you go to Lodestar, then you learn about the road Poneglyphs, and then you go do all this, like how Roger did it. But the man with the burn scar, apparently, and this is apparently somewhat common knowledge, because even Law, he didn't look like he didn't know. He looked like, I'm just not gonna say nothing. So there's some man with a burn scar. Oh shit! Aokiji. Who's missing a leg and has a big ass burn on him because he got fried by some magma? I think it's got something to do with Aokiji. I'll put my stake on it. Aokiji might know something. And it looks like Yamato might finally join the crew, which yet again, it's not set in stone, but that's the way it's looking. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and call it there because I gotta get this out today. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed what you heard, definitely like, comment, subscribe. This has been your boy, the D, signing out. Sure. Come on, come on.